Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dark Souls 3. Let's begin, shall we? So, character creation. First up, we must put in our name. My name, of course, is Blackmongoose. Male and age, I will be a young lad. And classes. So, the classes of Dark Souls 3, we have a knight, which is quite standard, quite tough. Pretty just standard knight wielding a shield and sword, all stuff. Mercenary, quite an interesting one. He wields a scimitar and a light shield, kind of like the Wanderer from the first game and stuff like that. But also, like the swordsman from the second game, this weapon is actually a dual wielding weapon. And I'm going to be picking this class, so more on that later. But anyway, next up, warrior. Kind of like a bandit from the first game and the second game. So he is a bit tough and wields a nice big axe and all things like that, pretty strong. And then we got a herald, who is a bit more of an interesting one. He wields a talisman, I believe, and has a shield and a spear, which is pretty unique, and also has a miracle. So it's kind of like a mixture between a knight and a what are they called, clerics? Yeah, clerics. So yeah, kind of like a mixture between a knight and a cleric. So yeah, bit of a unique one to this game. And then we got the thief, obviously, standard thief, wielding a dagger, a small shield, and a bow in this game, which is quite cool. An assassin, who wields sorceries, as well as a rapier, I believe. So kind of like a mixture between like a swordsman and a wizard, basically. A sorcerer, so of course, full-on sorcerer, full-on magics. Pyromancer, so of course your standard pyromancer, wielding an axe and pyromancies and all that jazz. Cleric, of course, standard miracle user. And the deprived, so you've got nothing but this club, this shield, and this loincloth. How lovely. So the class I'm going to be going with is the mercenary for this particular guide. So burial gift, this is the same as your starting gift from the other games, so you can go with none if you want a challenge. You can go with life ring, which of course gives you a bit of health. You can go with Divine Blessing, which will fully restore health and cure ailments, of course, just like the other games. You can go with a Hidden Blessing, which will fully restore FP, which is a new system to this game. Basically, FP is kind of like a mana system in this game. Because in this game, unlike the previous two games where you had limited uses of spells, in this game you have a sort of mana system, which I'll get into it later, but yeah, it works quite a bit differently to the previous games. Black Fire Bombs, which of course thrown items do some good damage. Fire Gem, which of course you use to upgrade your weapons to fire weapons. Sovereignless Souls, which are basically just consumed soul items which you use to gain souls, just like in the previous games. Rusted Gold Coin, which you use to increase item discovery for a while, so consumable item discovery item. I believe something similar to that was in the previous game, but I don't think gold coins were in the previous game. But either way, yeah, good one for like farming. Cracked Red Eye Orbs, of course, you use them to invade. And finally, a Young White Branch, which you use to blend into the environment. Quite an interesting one. So I'm going to be going with a life ring, because I like having health. And of course face and all that. I am going to be building my character now, and I will speed through this because I don't want to bore you with this, so see you at the end. And there we go, my character is finished. So this is going to be my character for the game, so let's go, shall we? Here we are, in the world of Dark Souls 3. Welcome to the Cemetery of Ash. So, thing to know about this game, unlike the previous games, you are not undead in this game. You are something different. You are unkindled. Now, the difference, it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, unkindled it's like undead, but unkindled were raised for the sole purpose of reuniting the Lords of Cinder. More on that later. So, right stick, of course, control the camera. Right bumper for a regular attack, of course. So, with your scimitar, of course, attacks pretty similar to the first game. And right trigger for a strong attack. Again, pretty similar to the first game. Dark Souls 3 is a lot more similar to the first game than it is the second game, so if you like the first game better than the second game, then this game's good for you. And right stick to lock on, of course. And we can chop him down to size. And they bring back the ragdoll physics in this game, which is marvellous. And B for a backstep. And of course, left stick and B for your roll. Now, thing to know about rolling in this game is the best that it's been in the whole franchise. In this game, your rolls are very, very effective, so yeah, be sure to use them. But the downside to that is that shields in this game are the least effective they've ever been in the franchise. So in this game, the emphasis is heavily on dodging, so you need to learn how to dodge. And move and hold down B for a dash, of course. So, head over here, get a soul of a deserted corpse, which will be a consumable soul item. Now, thing to note as well, guys, the servers are still down as of recording this, so no multiplayer in this playthrough, at least unless they fix the servers during the playthrough, hopefully. Chop that guy. And over here again, Ashen Estus Flask. So, what is an Ashen Estus Flask? Well, basically in this game, as you can see in the top left, I have a mana bar under my health bar. That is your FP bar, and it is what you use to not only use spells, but also use special moves of weapons. Because unlike the previous two games, in this game your weapons have special moves, which cost FP to use. And I can't really demonstrate it now. Well, actually I can. So if I switch to two-handing here, which will actually dual wield, because these are actually twin blades, this weapon, as you can see in the bottom left. So if I two-hand these, it will actually dual wield them. And then if I use LB, then I will swing with both. So that's how dual wielding works in this game. Basically you have dual wielding weapons in this game. So if you two-hand them, you will dual wield them instead. It's quite cool. And if I press left trigger, then it will use the special move, which is that one. And if you see in the top left, that will actually use a bit of my FP. And that's basically how it works in this game. Every single spell, every single special move and all that will use up FP. So it all uses the same pool, and use Ashen Estus Flask in order to restore your FP. So yeah, a bit different from previous games, and worth noting. And in this game you start off with 3 Estus Flask, which is quite nice. And left bumper for guard, obviously, just like the previous game. And right bumper behind an enemy for a critical hit. Of course, just like the previous games. Wah! Yeah. Very lovely. Alright, so let's head over here. Ooh. Ooh. Dodge out of the way. Oh, watch out for the projectiles. Most crossbow men in this game, for some reason, have flaming crossbows. And don't ask me why that is. So, over here, Y to two-hand your white weapon, and left trigger while two-handing to use weapon skills, of course. And X to use items, indeed. Of course, I am using controller for this. If you haven't watched my previous 2 guides, I use PlayStation controller. You can use keyboard if you want, but controller is always recommended for Dark Souls. Over here, left stick and right bumper for a kick. Although I don't have a kick with my scimitar, I actually have a back step, which is quite cool. And over here, left trigger for a parry and right bumper after a successful parry for a riposte. And I believe parrying and riposting is a bit easier in this game than previous game, so that's quite nice. Although I haven't mastered it like in the first game, so not going to be using it too much. Turn back. No, I will not turn back. F you. What is up here? Up here is... Yes. Remember the crystal lizards from the first and second game? Well, they've evolved. And now they have become this vicious creature. So this is a super crystal lizard, basically. And it's a lot bigger and a lot stronger than a regular crystal lizard. It's sort of like a mini boss type enemy at this stage of the game, at least. And it's not too difficult, but it can be a bit threatening at this stage. So it has that jump attack, where it will of course jump and... oh god. And spawn some crystals, watch out for them. And it will have that tail swipe as well, of course. Now, thing to know about this game is that enemies in this game have much more complex and faster and more aggressive movesets than previous games. So in this game you are going to have a bit of a tougher time with the enemies. Oh, ouch. But yeah, personally I feel that this game is the hardest of all of the Dark Souls. That's debatable, but I think that this game is the hardest out of them all. So yeah, prepare to suffer quite a bit if you ask me. There we go, dodge. Now, thing to know about this guy, if you hit him in the head enough, it will actually put him in an execution move position, which is pretty handy. I will try and demonstrate. Just gotta keep hitting him in the head. Watch out for that, he will do a quick swipe. Oh, there we go. And then if you press right bumper up close to him, you will stab your sword right into his head and do big damage. Nice. Oh. So yes, not too difficult, but can be threatening if not taken seriously. Ow! As you can tell. He does big damage at this stage. Oh. And hurt. And yeah. And we get a Titanite scale. So what is a Titanite scale? It is basically Demon Titanite from the first game. It even has the same sort of model. So yes, it's what you use to upgrade boss weapons. Pretty nice. And get Soul of an Unknown Traveller as well. And we also get 4,000 souls from that, which is a lot at this stage. So yes, you can take him on if you want. You don't have to. You can come back for him, but I like to take him on early. It's a nice challenge. And he's not too difficult. Alright, let's head back in this direction. So up here, change weapons of course with the directional pad, and toggle items with the directional pad also. All standard stuff, we know this. And out here, the lovely world of Lothric. That is the name of the kingdom that Dark Souls 3 takes place in. Lothric. It's a beautiful game. Dark Souls 3 easily has the best graphics of the series. With every game the graphics got better, but in Dark Souls 3 they reached their pinnacle. It's lovely. So over here, rest a bonfire to restore HP and Estus, of course. Just like the previous games. And we learn our first gesture, the rest gesture. Very nice. Alright, let's head over here. So, look, stab, stab, or slash, slash, and he's down. Over here, B while dashing for a jump, of course. So there's an item down there, so I need to jump for that. So let's see if I can make it. There we go. Same sort of jumping controls as the first two games. And get a Titanite shard, which of course, if you played the previous two games, upgrade material, very important. And right bumper while falling for a plunging attack. What? Just like the previous two games. If you played the previous two games, you know this stuff inside and out. Slash slash. Now before we head in there, there's some more stuff around here I want to investigate. And if you saw earlier, when I actually blocked, I took quite a bit of damage, because, again, that's what I'm talking about. Shields are not very good in this game. They have some very low stability in this game, like, high stability shields are quite rare in this game, and also a lot of shields have fairly low damage reduction. Again, shields that have good stability and high damage reduction are very rare in this game. So yeah, in this game it's the hardest of any game to rely on shields. So again, that's why I recommend learning how to roll, because it is hard to rely on shields in this game. Not impossible, but quite hard. Come, give up. Chop, chop. Get some fire bombs, nice items, and a fading soul. Lovely. Alright, let's go through that other place. What is this? There's a man, and there seems to be a sword embedded in him. Remove the sword, eh? Alright then. What could possibly go wrong? That's right. Welcome to your first boss fight. Udex Gundyr, I believe, is how you pronounce it. He is your tutorial boss. Although he barely even feels like a tutorial boss, because this guy has quite a diverse and cool moveset, and he's actually a really fun boss if you ask me. I actually really like him. So, his moves comprised of all sorts of slashing and stabbing, and he even has those sort of elbow attacks, which he uses to follow up attacks. So you need to watch out for those. There you go, they're pretty fast. And his attacks can also be nastily delayed, like that one there. So watch out for that. Drink. Also, Estus is quite a bit faster in this game than in the previous game. So yes, it's easier to rely on Estus in healing. I mean, it's easier to rely on Estus in dire situations. There we go, his attacks are quite nastily delayed. He barely even feels like a tutorial boss, he almost feels like a boss for returning veterans. Because yes, his attacks are pretty difficult. But I can do him because I am pro. Chop, chop, chop. He is fun though. Ouch, ouch. What? Oof. Not playing the best, but it's been a while. It's been actually like 2 months since I've played Dark Souls. Chop, chop, chop. Oh. And now, phase 2. So, thing to know about bosses in Dark Souls 3, pretty much all of them have a second phase. Some even have a third phase. And this is Udex Gundyr's second phase. He will spawn this giant, horrifying creature. And this will swing all over the arena. And it becomes quite difficult to see what's going on. But it also gives him a massive hitbox, so it's much easier to hit him. So with this, it's best to be careful with going in and then back off, because he is quite slow in this phase. So just go in for your attacks and then back off. And just be careful, because he hits quite hard in this phase. But I recommend going two-handed against this guy, by the way, because your shield is not really going to do much. I recommend going two-handed against pretty much all bosses in this game, because again, your shield is not really going to do a lot. There we go, a lot more damage. Oh, ow! Oh, that was close. Don't want to die on the first boss. That would be quite embarrassing. Ooh. That has quite a range, so watch out for that. What? What? Yeah! Got him. Air of Fire destroyed. And we get the coiled sword. And our ember has been restored, which gives you this lovely glowy effect on your armor. It's awesome, I love this effect. And basically what this means is that while in this state, you not only can summon players, I believe, for boss fights, but also you'll have extra health. As you can see in the top left, my health increased quite a bit. But when you die, this effect disappears, so try and make it count. And there we go, light up the bonfire. And we will rest up. Alright, let's head over in this direction. So, the coiled sword. That's the sword that stabs in the bonfire, isn't it? What could that be used for? Maybe the answers will be on the other side of this door. That is where we must go, up there. So, let's head up there. But first, over here. Get a broken straight sword. Not very useful. And of course, open the menu. Oh, wrong one. So yeah, open the menu. Nothing too much going on there. And of course, these are your emotes, if you are wondering. So yeah, pretty standard emotes to start off with. But we have our trusty bow, so that's all we need. If you ask me, the emotes in this game are some of the best in any game in the series. I love the emotes in this game. We'll see them soon enough. There are some great emotes in this game, I love them. Also, a thing to know, I don't know if I even mentioned in that boss fight, but yeah, the boss fights in this game are the best in the franchise, by the way. Like, Dark Souls 3 has a very strong boss lineup. There's pretty much not a single weak boss in the game, and even what weak bosses there are, they're still better than most other weak bosses in the other two games. So yeah, Dark Souls 3 has easily the best boss lineup of any game in the series. And the best bosses in this game, oh boy. There are some incredible boss fights in this game, and we'll get to those eventually. There's almost too many to count. Trust me when I say that, I'm being honest. Alright, anyway. Let's chop through the... Ouch! Chop through these guys and get shot by a douchebag. See, they all have fire crossbows, it's weird. Ow! Oh. There we go, get a fading soul. Now, thing to note as well, guys, poise works quite a bit differently in this game to other games in the series. I don't really know how to explain it. I'm terribly sorry, but I don't really know how to explain it. Poise is... it's quite complicated in this game. I'll explain it another time, but yeah, poise is... it's quite a bit different in this game to previous games, but yeah, I'll explain it another time. It's a bit weird, but yeah. Oh, hello. Completely forgot about you. Yeah, the dogs have returned. If you remember the previous two games, the dogs were some of the worst enemies. But in this game, they take that to the next level. Because in this game, the dogs take the biscuit, quite frankly. They are so incredibly fast, so incredibly damaging, and so incredibly annoying. They are the worst in this game. But never mind them. Alright, let's head over here. What do we find over here? What's up here? Oh, hello. Almost missed you guys. Choppy chop. Oh, get a cleric sacred chime there. Which is a tool to cast miracles, if you're wondering. Get an ember. And of course what these embers do is gives you an ember state. So yeah, they're kind of like humanity from the first game. Although you can only use one per life. And they will restore your health to full, just like humanity from the first game again. But again, you can only use one per life. Once you're in an embered state, you can't use another ember. So if I equip that a second. So if I try to use an ember, see it's blacked out, so I can't use it here because I'm already embered. So yes, you've got to be sparing with your ember, which I actually quite like because humanity was a little bit overpowered in the first game because it basically meant that if you ran out of Estus, you just had way more healing because you always had loads of humanity on hand. So yeah, it basically meant you never ran out of healing, but in this game, you very much do have a limited healing because once you run out of Estus, you've only got one ember, so you've got to be careful. And healing items in this game are finite, trust me. So yes, while you do get a lot of Estus in this game, you have to make it count because this game is very stingy with healing items. Anyway, over here again, East West Shield, which is a alright shield. And up here, who is this guy? This guy is the sensei. So he will Zenuchi Katana. And what he's doing there is a pose that he will use to either parry or do that sort of sudden attack there. And as you can tell, it's pretty damaging. This guy is pretty tough at this stage of the game. I don't really recommend that you take him on, but you can if you want. So, best thing to do with him, be patient. Be very patient. Oh, that's his heavy attack. Ow, 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 ow. Good. Ooh. His attacks are very strong. So you see how poise works there. Basically the way poise works in this game, I'll try and explain it the best I can. Basically in this game, when you hit an enemy, they sort of stagger a bit. But the thing is, you can only do that so much before they do an attack basically. So you can only sort of go in for one or two or maybe 3 attacks. And if your weapon is strong enough, then it will break their poise and keep them stun locked. But that only works on certain enemies. If the enemy has enough poise, basically it means that you basically can't keep them stun locked unless your weapon is strong enough. So what you need to do is you need to basically judge whether your enemy is a light armored character or a like armored character. If they're a light armored character, you can keep them stun locked, but if they're a heavier armored character, you can't keep them stun locked, and you need to only go in for like a few attacks at a time, basically. That's pretty much the best way that I can explain it. Oh. And in other news, he kicked my ass. I was trying to explain how poise worked. And as for how poise works on you, I'm not sure, really. Again, poise is quite a bit complicated in this game. But anyway, hopefully that all makes sense. So, I'll see you back up there for the next attempt. Alright, Sensei. Let's begin round 2, shall we? Oh, that was a jump. There we go, so I believe Sensei is actually a light armoured character, so that means that if you're relentless in your attacks, you might be able to keep him stun locked. Although it is risky to try and do that. Oh, good dodging on his part. What? There we go, I can keep him stun locked, but I only have so much stamina, so you need to be careful. But yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Light armoured characters can be stun locked, heavier armour characters not so much. So you need to be careful, and you need to judge. Oh, cool! And you need to correctly judge your enemies, whether they're light armoured or heavier armoured. Patience. Oh. You've got to be careful with your stamina. Come on, man. Come on, Sensei. Bring it. Back away. Oh, God. Ooh. Watch out for that. Come on. Ooh. Oh. Too close. What? There we go. Got him. And we get 2,000 souls, the Master's Attire, the Master's Gloves, and the Uchi Katana, which of course, if you played the previous 2 games, you know is a pretty nice katana. And that is actually the weapon I'm going to be using for the entirety of this playthrough. So, there we go. I don't have the strength to wield it in one hand yet, but I can wield it two-handed. So there we go. That is going to be the weapon I'm going to use for this whole playthrough. So sorry if you wanted to see some dual wielding. Well, yeah, I'm not going to be doing dual wielding, so sorry. And up here, yes, Firelink Shrine. Isn't that the first game? Well, safe to say we've returned. Doesn't open from this side, so we can't get in there. But yes, this place is Firelink Shrine from the first game. Or at least a new Firelink Shrine. It's changed appearance quite a bit since the first game. So, there you go. And if we go in here... Welcome to Firelink Shrine. The new Firelink. Isn't it amazing? These are the 5 thrones. All of them for a Lord of Cinder. So, that is our quest. To locate and return all of the Lords of Cinder. So, let's head down here. Hello, Miss Lady.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I am a firekeeper. I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side.
So, there we go. She is the Firekeeper. She will level you up, kind of like the Emerald Warden from the previous game, and that is our quest. The Lords of Cinder are not at their thrones, so we must locate them. This is the role of an unkindled one. To locate and return the Lords of Cinder to their throne when they are needed.
Very well. Then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls. Let these souls
So, leveling up. So, the stats in this game, we got Vigor, which of course, health, pretty simple. We got Attunement, which will give you extra FP, and also of course attunement slots, which you use to equip spells. Pretty nice. Endurance, which will give you stamina, of course. Vitality, which gives you equipment load. Always good stuff. I assume you all know this. If you don't know this, well, play the previous games and yeah, you'll learn there. I'm approaching this from the mindset of I assume you know how this stuff works by now. I assume this is not your first Dark Souls game. So of course, strength, your ability to use strength-based weapons and all that jazz. Dexterity, your ability to use dexterity-based weapons. Intelligence, your scaling with magic and intelligence-based weapons and all that. Faith, your scaling with miracles and all that jazz. And finally, luck, a new stat to the game, which actually boosts your item discovery. So that's an interesting one. So I am going to put 2 points in strength, and I'm going to put a point in endurance, and 2 more points in endurance, a point in vigor, and 2 more in endurance. There we go. Endurance is a good one to get. It's always nice to have stamina. Stamina, very useful resource.
Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how. Ashen One, bring me souls plucked from their vessels.
Indeed.
Farewell, Ashen One. May the flames guide thee.
Indeed, Firekeeper. So, that is it. Our journey in Dark Souls 3 has begun. So, we will have to continue this in the next episode because I am all out of time. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to going through this game with you. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.